stadiums. These are current as of really 2020 was the last one that was built. So it's all current stadiums. We're going to rank them. Starting off with what should be probably one of the lowest tier possible, and that is FedEx Field. Oh my gosh, this is atrocious. When you think about the Jalen Hurts incident a couple years ago, and then they had the sewage incident, that was absolutely atrocious as well. This stadium is in a terrible location as well. Landover, Maryland, like there's nothing to do up there at all. It's just a stadium and a field of parking lots all around the stadium. It's ridiculous, really, but whatever. If they want to make money, things to do around the stadium, but nope, it's just parking lots. And Landover, Maryland, there's not really much public transit get to to get to there anyway. I mean, when you think about it, Washington D.C., a lot of people use public transit in Washington D.C. Whereas stadium, I think the nearest public transit location is like a mile or two away from the stadium. It's not convenient. It's terrible. It's just an overall bad stadium. Commanders need an upgrade. Very bad. They need an upgrade. And that's going to be it for the D tier. I think FedEx Field deserves a tier of its own, honestly. So next we have C tier, and first up we'll have the Titan Stadium. As of right now, Nissan Field or Nissan Stadium. I've It's actually one of the three NFL stadiums that I've been to. So I've been to a stadium. I kind of hold in kind of good regards because of that, but it's in C tier still. It's not one of the best. I think everyone tell you it's not one of the best. I mean, there's not anything particularly terrible about it. It doesn't stand out that much. It's not that unique. I mean, here's the Titans lettering in the seats, which I always think is a cool touch when teams are able to do that. I do, but Nissan Stadium, it's yeah. They have the little houses in the concourses where they serve you food, the concessions, and that's cool. I think it's a '90s stadium. It was built for not that much, and you can kind of tell it wasn't. It's not that expensive looking. It's not like modern looking as the newer stadiums are. I mean, for what it is, it serves its purpose as the Tennessee Titans home field, and I think it's alright at the job. Do I think it excels at the job? No. But again, it serves its purpose. I'm just gonna move on from there. Let's see here. The other C tier stadium is Raymond James Stadium. I'll put it a little ahead of the Tennessee Titans just because of the pirate ship. The pirate ships makes that stadium. Like, come on. That pirate ship is a cool feature. It's a really cool feature. The rest of the stadium, though, it's eerily similar to the Titans Stadium. They look like twins. They really look like twins, and it's crazy. I mean, the same things can be said about the Buccaneers Stadium as is said about the Titans Stadium. It's pretty much the same stadium, which is insane. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, moving on. I mean, the only feature about that stadium that's cool is the pirate ship. Period. Tom Brady left. The Buccaneers are not going to be relevant for another 20 years. Oh well, I said it. All right, moving on. Let's see here. What's the next stadium I'm gonna put on stadium in S tier, and that is SoFi Stadium. Oh my gosh, this stadium is so great, so cool. SoFi. When you think of SoFi, you think, oh my gosh, this stadium looks amazing. From the exterior of the stadium, how can you not think that? It's a freaking cool looking stadium, I mean. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not SoFi. Yeah, this is SoFi. Yeah, it's SoFi. That's a cool looking stadium from the outside and inside. I mean, I'd love to go there in person just to grandioseness of it all. It's also grand looking and whew. One thing I want to note though, for I mean, the Chargers do not have home field advantage at all. The Rams barely do. The Chargers, come on, no way do they have any sort of home field advantage, especially when they play the Raiders. Man, home game for the Chargers feels like an away game. Come on, everyone knows it's true. Everyone. But one thing I want to note for SoFi Stadium, the football there, it just seems artificial in a way. Just the stadium and everything to do with the stadium, it feels sort of artificial. Good thing, bad thing. I mean, I don't know. It's a little bit of a bad thing for me. It just sort of feels artificial, but it's a great stadium. I do. Expensive though. It's really expensive. The food's expensive. The parking's expensive. The tickets are expensive. But if you have the money, I mean, NFL's expensive. Period, man. It just is. It just is. Moving on. Another amazing looking stadium, Atlanta Stadium, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. That stadium looks nice. I've been there. I've been in Atlanta. I saw the exterior of the stadium. I haven't actually been in the stadium, but I've been around the exterior of the stadium. It's pretty cool. It really is. They have a cool little falcon statue, or not little. It's pretty big falcon statue outside of the front of the stadium, and it's really cool. It's like gray and it's falcon. It's okay. I don't necessarily like the Atlanta Falcons very much, if at all, but their stadium's pretty cool. It's almost always like half full though. Falcons, come on, man, do better with attendance, bro. Do better. But from what I hear, the stadium, um, it's expensive. The seats, but the concessions are cheap. But the seats are expensive. So kind of pick your poison in terms of what you want to. Whereas many of our stadiums choose to, have expensive seats and expensive concessions. But Atlanta's doing pretty good in the stadium front, I've got to say. Mr. Arthur Blank, you know how to build a good stadium. Okay, another great NFL stadium is the Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas. I mean, they moved to Vegas and they really don't have much of a home field advantage right now. Will they ever in Vegas? I really don't know. And probably not. Vegas is such a destination. If someone's favorite team is playing in Vegas, they're going to fly to that game if they can over a lot of other cities in the US because Vegas, it's a destination. People want to go to Vegas, see their favorite team play. It's exciting to go to an NFL game, much less an NFL game in Vegas. Broski, come on, man. There's clubs in the stadium. I think there's slots in the stadium. I could be wrong in that, but the stadium is fine. They just hosted the Super Bowl. Usher, shout out to Usher. They just hosted the Super Bowl. I mean, from the exterior, it's like a big black building. Screams Raiders. The Raiders flame. I forget what it's called. I'm terrible at this. I forget what it's called. The Al Gore flame. Not Al Gore. Oh man, Al Davis. The memorial torch for Al Davis. Bro, that's a cool feat. Okay, I've got to say though, in Oakland, it was cooler in my opinion. It was smaller, but it was way cooler because it was actual fire. Whereas this is just like a light up electronic feature, which doesn't really vibe too well for me. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, it's cool. It's still really cool, the Al Davis Memorial Torch, but it doesn't hit the same as it did when it was an actual flame. And that's just how I feel. Anyways, I'm going to move on now to let's pick the Seahawks Stadium. If I can find where the Seahawks Stadium is, give me a couple seconds to really look for it. There you go, CenturyLink Field. Yeah, I believe it's an A tier. It used to be an S tier for me and for most people, but these newer echelon stadiums being built just blow everything out the ballpark. It, they really do. So Lumen Field, I think it is called now. It used to be CenturyLink, but now it's Lumen Field where the Seattle Seahawks play. It's a great stadium. The atmosphere is amazing. The environment. Seahawks fans are so passionate. They love their team, and I love seeing it on in TV. I'd hope to go to a Seahawks game one time. Maybe when my favorite NFL team goes there and we can get a pretty good win on the road in Seattle. But I'd still love to see the atmosphere of it all. And Seattle's a great city, by the way. This isn't a ranking cities video, but Seattle's a great city. Stadium's in a great location, by the way. Right there, downtown Seattle, within walking distance of a lot of things in downtown. Actually, it's just kind of sort of south of downtown, but you can still walk to downtown from the stadium. I think Seattle Seahawks Stadium is home to the loudest ever crowd noise, if I believe, or was that Arrowhead? But it's consistently one of the highest crowd noise stadiums. It's the way it's built. It's built to circulate the crowd noise kind of. It's really cool. It's something I really want to see one day. And next up we'll have the US Bank Stadium. It's gonna be an S tier as well. And I think those are the four stadiums I'm gonna keep in S tier and know the stadiums are gonna go up there. US Bank Stadium, it's for one a great location. Downtown Minneapolis, kind of on the corner of downtown. Amazing location. I've been there to a game actually. One of the three NFL stadiums I've been to. It's cool. It's a great atmosphere up there in Minnesota. The inside of the building is, it feels new. It does. And that's great. It has a great new feeling on the inside and the outside, I guess, too. I went when it was very cold in Minneapolis, so I really didn't. Well, I didn't want to experience much of the exterior of the building when I went because it was so cold and snowing, and cold and me does not mix together, ladies and gentlemen. But the Minnesota Vikings, great fan base. The horn. I don't know what the actual name of it is called, but the horn, that's a cool touch. They blow it before every game, and I think they blow it between like some big plays, especially in the fourth quarter. It's a really cool touch. A great atmosphere, the skull chant, something I'm gonna remember from in there, you know. Oh, the glass kind of like a canopy. It's not really a canopy though. It's a ceiling. The glass ceiling lets the natural light in. That's a really cool look. That's a really cool look. All right, next up we're gonna do the Ford Field in Detroit, which I think is an underrated stadium myself. I really do. I've never been there, obviously. Well, not obviously, but I've never been there to Ford Field in Detroit. But you saw the Lions the past 2 years, they got good, right? Ford Field started rocking, especially last year. It started rocking. Eminem came out and they loved Eminem. They loved their Lions. Now that Ford Field is home to a really good Lions team, I think people wake up to how good Ford Field really is. Like how underrated Ford Field is. It's really an underrated stadium. There's not many negatives about it. If I had to nitpick, like the top of the stadium in the exterior has Ford branded on the top of the stadiums, that's not a great look, in my opinion. But I mean, that's kind of a small thing to pick. The exterior of the stadium overall, though, is really cool. Just look at exterior shots of the stadium. It's a cool looking exterior stadium. And then interior of the stadium, you have a little bit of natural light right there, but not much. It's like a typical dome type stadium, which you don't really only have two of those in the NFL now. So, but yeah, Ford Field, underrated. You're gonna see how great it is in the next coming years when the Lions are good. Now another stadium, and this one might rub some people the wrong way, but I'm putting Caesars Superdome up there. Why? Because it's home to my favorite team. Call that bias, but whatever. I don't care. It's good. It's iconic. It is a very iconic stadium. The Caesar Superdome, one of the most iconic stadiums. I'd say top three current stadiums right now in terms of just iconic moments, like the icon. The during Katrina, crazy. During Katrina, it housed refugees. Well, I don't want to say refugees. I don't think that's the right word for it. Ooh, excuse me. I mean, okay, and then they did renovations in the Superdome the past couple years, and they really improved the environment inside the stadium in terms of having spaces around the concourses. They improved the bathrooms. They improved the Wi-Fi, the scoreboards. The atmosphere is kind of lacking from how it used to be. And really, that's just because Drew Brees isn't there anymore. I mean, as a local fan, I can feel it. The vibe in there is not the same as it used to be when Drew Brees was there. And that's just the factor of us not being as great of a team as we once were. But call it bias, call it whatever you want. Caesar Superdome is one of the top stadiums in the NFL. I would argue that with anybody, and I could bring up points with you if you really want to argue with me, but it's a great stadium. Come on, guys. It's good. Next up, we're going to have the Philadelphia Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field. Another, I think, underrated stadium, in my opinion. It's pretty cool. It's fairly recent. It was built in the 2000s. Not exactly sure what year, but it was in the 2000s. And it's cool. It has this little wind turbines on the roof, which I think are a really cool touch, but that's just me. That doesn't affect game day atmosphere at all, but not to mention, Eagles have a passionate fan base, and their atmosphere is pretty good in the stadium. But I'll just say passionate fan base to put it nicely. If you know, you know, you know. I mean, it's a cool design for a stadium, modern, sleek looking, and yeah, that's about it. As far oh, Green Bay Packers, I'm putting them in S tier as well. I said I'm not changing the S tier list. I just did. Now I'm not changing it. I forgot about Green Bay a little bit. Sorry, Sergeant left. Green Bay Packers. It's the most iconic field in the NFL. Period. It really is. I mean, Soldier Field, you can kind of say that, but uh, the Bears haven't been good since the '80s. So Lambeau Field is the most iconic stadium in NFL history. I will debate anyone on that anytime. For history alone, it has to be an S tier. Of course, I'm ranking things on a lot of different aspects: location, atmosphere, environment, history, how it looks, exterior, but both exterior and interior. But Green Bay Packers history is unmatched. Period. Uh, as far as where it's gonna be in S tier, I'm gonna put it just past SoFi. I'm at US Bank above these other two, and I think that's how my S tier is gonna I finalize S tier with them. Green Bay Packers fans are so cool. They have that song they play in the fourth quarter. I forget the name of it. It's cool though. Packers game in Wisconsin in December, January. Bro, I mean, I know it's gonna be cold, and I'm gonna freeze my butt off, but I would love to experience that. Just to experience the environment. It'd be cool, man. It really would. All right. Let's see. Which I'm gonna go ahead and do. This one, okay, Levi Stadium in San Francisco. Technically not San Francisco. It's in Santa Clara, technically. But it was built 10 years ago. It's not good for its age, my dude. Um, a huge problem with the stadium is that for, 1 o'clock Eastern games, well, Niners don't play that. Whenever they play the earliest game, I think it's like 1:30 their time. But the sun beams down on those people in the stadium when they could have built a roof over it. Then again, you can point out to a lot of NFL stadiums being that way. So I don't really understand the point that the Niners are making there. But anyways, it doesn't feel like it houses as much of the great amenities as the newer stadiums do. When it was built fairly recently itself, just 10 years old, it just doesn't feel the same. It just doesn't. I mean, it has great amenities. It has super duper Wi Fi. But again, the fans just bake in that San Francisco sun. They really do. From my knowledge, I think they offer cheap water bottles. Okay. Sunscreen. No, ew. And another thing about the stadium, they have one side of the stadium. You can't see it pictured there. It's a giant like wall kind of thing, but it's the suites that go up, and the expensive people in the suites they get shade. The other side gets no kind of canopy or anything. They get to bake in the sun. From what I understand, it's a great atmosphere, but no thanks. I don't want to bake in the sun. Okay, next up, Buffalo Bills, home to Bills Mafia. What I would think is the best home field advantage in the NFL. Well, JK. But certainly one of the best fans in the NFL. One of the best fan bases in the NFL. The Buffalo Bills. Are you kidding me? Breaking tables, jumping through tables, jumping through more tables. I mean, the parking lot alone should be its own stadium just for that. If you take away the atmosphere and the environment, though, just looking at the stadium itself, it shows its age. It does. I think it was built in the 60s or 70s, if I believe. Not too sure, but it shows its age. It's not the prettiest looking facility. Now the Bills are getting a new stadium fairly soon, so that's going to remedy all of that. I just hope that same atmosphere will translate to the new stadium, and I guess it will, because it's in the same exact location pretty much. So, I mean, if that's the case, then I think the Bills are going to move up to A or S2 once they get their new stadium. If the stadium's as good as it looks in renderings and it has great amenities and stuff. From what it looks like, there's going to be a giant buffalo outside the stadium, which looks pretty cool. I'm a huge fan of teams doing that. You know, the Panthers have that huge panther outside the stadium, and I just talked about the Falcons having that huge falcon outside the stadium. Like, I'm a huge fan of when teams do that. So that'll be pretty cool to see, not gonna lie. Can't wait to that. Can't wait till they open up the new stadium. As of now though, it's C tier, on the lower end of C tier. It just atmosphere environment one thing, but the stadium shows its age. It's time for a new one. Good on you for Buffalo for getting a new one. Now, let's see. Which one should I rank next? It's kind of hard to see like the actual standings of these, but anyway, the Carolina Panthers home stadium, Bank of America Stadium, it's not that great. I've never been there. It's not one of my like top NFL stadiums that I'm dying to visit. It's on the lower end of stadiums that I want to visit. I want to visit all 32 eventually sometime. I visited 3 out of 32. Woohoo! But it's it's not one I'm yearning to visit. Just looking at it for exterior, both the exterior and interior perspective, it's not that great looking. You know, On the interior stadium is just a blue sea of blue seats, and it's not very appealing look wise. Uh, Not to mention it's a little outdated in the design of it. I mean, to have that huge upper deck of blue seats wrapping the whole stadium, and it's outdated looking. It really is. The Panthers atmosphere isn't amazing for games for Panther home games, and the team isn't good right now. So obviously, but even when they were good, it never seemed like the Panthers had a great fan atmosphere, and you can't really knock the stadium on that too hard. But it just never seemed like the Panthers had a good atmosphere, a great one, a great one. I mean, I don't know. It's all right. It serves its function. Not the most aesthetically pleasing stadium. I wouldn't want to house my NFL franchise in that stadium. Houses a soccer team now too, MLS club, FC Charlotte, which I would have come up with a way better name and logo when I had it all planned on my head, but nope, they couldn't do that. Anyways, this isn't a soccer video. Might want to make one. I might make one soon, but this isn't it. So next up, I'm gonna rank the Miami Dolphins Stadium, and I believe it's in B tier. Might be a little controversial, but I'm not the hugest fan of Hard Rock Stadium, like how it looks on the inside. Exterior, I think the roof looks kind of cool exterior wise, but on the interior, it just so like along the side of the field, there's these like sweet seats that was very expensive by the looks of it. It just gives us this luxury vibe. The whole stadium really, it gives off this luxury vibe, and it's kind of degrading to the everyday football fan because the everyday football fan cannot afford something like that. The whole luxury environment, the luxury atmosphere. Like no, if I want to go see a football game, I want to see the passionate fans. I don't want to see the fans that paid hundreds of dollars to be there. Like no, I want to see the fans that bought the cheapest tickets or I don't know. I'm probably not making much sense here, everyone. I'm just I'm a fan of the teal seats, by the way. The teal looks cool. Um, JK, I'm not. It looks kind of weird. I gotta lie. The orange looked worse though. It was an upgrade of the orange. The old Sun Life Stadium was not great. And not to mention another thing, the location of the stadium in Miami Gardens. It's a ways away from Miami. It's kind of like in between Miami and Fort Lauderdale, which I guess is kind of actually convenient thinking about it because the fan base can draw crowds from both Fort Lauderdale and Miami, kind of be a middle location for both sides to kind of commute to. But there's really nothing around the stadium actually, except parking and like temporary parking at that. I don't know. It just doesn't strike me as cool. This the Super Bowl was cool there a couple years ago, but it just I don't know. I'll definitely make it above. Mm, I don't know. I'll put it there for now. Again, all the same in the B tier are better than the ones in lower tiers, but not as good as the ones in upper tiers. That's just how it goes. Now the next team is gonna rank is Heinz Field. JK, I can't call it that anymore. I will anyway. It's B tier in my opinion. Um, the views you get from that stadium, I think, are the best in the NFL. You can see if you're sitting in the other end zone, you can see directly across the way. You can see downtown Pittsburgh. You can see the bridge. You can see the big water thing they have. Water fountain, I guess you can call it. I don't really know. But it's really cool views. Um, Back when they had Big Ben, great atmosphere. Now I think it's a little bit worse, similar to the Saints, but that's okay. Renegade, great, great, great. I love that tradition. I love that tradition playing Renegade. I love traditions like that in football, NFL or college. I love traditions like that. But Renegade makes for a great tradition. The yellow seats are kind of ugly. I can kind of look past that a little bit, but great location for a stadium too. It's right there near downtown. You just walk across the bridge from downtown to get to the stadium. It's convenient. It's cool. It's not as modern as the newer stadiums. It's not as sleek, Doesn't give that modern aesthetic to it. But Pittsburgh, hardworking town, good stadium, good stadium. Most of the stadiums in the NFL are gonna be good stadiums. They just are. I mean, it's the professional. This the NFL. It's the number one league in the world. They're gonna have great stadiums. So just because of stadiums in B tier, I think they're still amazing stadiums. The one in D tier is the only one which I'd say I don't want my franchise playing in this stadium. So yeah. Um, Next up is Arrowhead. I'm gonna put. Ooh, this might be controversial, but Arrowhead's in B tier. Arrowhead to me is similar to Heinz Field. It just, I don't know. It's it's historic. I think it was built in the 70s, opened in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. Sometime in the 70s, 80s, I guess. It's a cool stadium. Um, the circle scoreboard is iconic. Never change that. Iconic. It's sort of an iconic NFL stadium too. And I love that about it. I wouldn't be a fan of Kansas City building a new stadium. I think why not keep Kansas City at Arrowhead? Arrowhead's amazing. The tailgating culture at Arrowhead also is amazing. It's just a notch below Buffalo. I mean, right up there with Buffalo, really. Just Buffalo is insane. So notch below Buffalo. It's still great. Barbecue. Oh, come on. But parking all around the stadium. Now that does have the tailgating feature, but still, I mean, you can't do anything else with your stadium besides put mounds of parking around the stadium. It's not the best look, and it just isn't, you know. It would be great if they could like have a light rail from downtown to the stadium. But what that would be my dream come true. I love that kind of stuff. Anyway, the actual stadium itself, the interior of the stadium, it's kind of bare bones in a way. To put it plainly, it's not too huge or new amenity features. It's an older stadium, so it's gonna be like that. It's design, like I was saying, is iconic with a circle, what scoreboards on both end zones. So it's cool. It's cool. Casey Wolf makes it. All right, next up is Denver. Yeah, Mile High Field. So this I think is a pretty cool stadium. Denver hasn't been good in a while though. Since Peyton Manning left, they've been mediocre at best. So that kind of hurts the atmosphere of it. So I think when Denver finally gets good again, people will wake up and realize, wow, Denver has a very good atmosphere because they do. Um, the Colorado, what no, Denver Broncos has a great atmosphere, great environment in the home stadium. You're just not you don't notice it because the Broncos have sucked for a while now. They really have. So that atmosphere really isn't brought out. I I hope the Broncos get good soon so we can see the atmosphere brought out in this stadium. Now, great location for the stadium, by the way, close to downtown, the light rail access to downtown, so it's convenient to get to the stadium. Uh, Denver people are pretty good people. Not to mention I really like the city of Denver, so maybe there's a little bias there, but also I like the little Denver Bronco. They have the seat, like, yeah, you can kind of see it how it is now. You may if I zoom in, yeah. but the seat in the upper deck, they have the Denver Broncos logo, which is cool. Like I said earlier, I like when stadiums do that. It's a cool aspect, you know. Anyways, not that many left to go. Let's go Cleveland Browns Stadium. It's C tier. Cleveland, this is for you. Oh man, it's nothing special. It's really not. It's kind of ugly looking in a way. I mean, maybe that's my opinion, but it's kind of ugly looking. I think. You know, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing stadium in my opinion. The orange seats definitely stand out. You know, the Browns' primary color is orange, so I guess that's why. But not to mention, Cleveland's had those years where they're absolutely terrible, and it was known as the factory of sadness. I mean, oh man, it's not the best location. It's like it's in downtown, but I don't know. Cleveland in general is not the best city, so a little biased maybe. It's around the lakefront. The strong lake winds come in and trouble for kickers, trouble for quarterbacks because of that lake. I don't know, man. It doesn't strike me as one of the coolest ones. Next up is Jacksonville, Everbank Field or TIAA Bank Stadium, wherever they're called in that stadium now. I feel like it's been through a lot of different names. But it was Jack Murphy Stadium at one point. Yeah, it's been through names. Been through a bunch of different names. The stadium itself it was cheaply made. It's not a great stadium. It's definitely not anything like it doesn't have unique features about it. Well, okay. The pool. The pool. Besides that pool, name one thing about the stadium. Big scoreboards, I guess, but like the location is amazing. I mean, not terrible. Not terrible, but I don't know. I mean, looking at exterior pictures of it, it's ugly looking. The interior of it's ugly looking. They had those terrible tarps they would put along the upper seatings for a while when it wasn't pretty. It's not a pretty stadium, I mean. And in the NFL, you should strive to have a good stadium. And the Jaguars, it doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it, man. Moving on, you have Paycor Stadium. I'm going to put Paycor in B. It is unique looking. You have the escalators going up to the top. That's a unique aspect. And the whole like canopy that's unique. The jungle, the green seats, unique. Joe Burrow. The atmosphere of before Joe Burrow got there was very lackluster, and I guess I understand why. But now that Joe Burrow's there, and that Cincinnati atmosphere is really cool, really good. Cool, great environment, great city. I love Cincinnati. Good location too. It's a great location for a stadium. It's right downtown. It's by the river. Cool riverfront access. You know, it doesn't have the amenities that the more upper echelon stadiums do. You know, and it's not iconic stadium by any means. It's cool though. It's cool. It's nice. Now, University. No, I'm in Soldier Field. Now, Soldier Field's hard for me. I'm gonna put it at B tier. I hear a lot of bad things about it aesthetically, and I don't really honestly get it because I actually like the aesthetics of Soldier Field. The exterior, I actually like it. I think it looks cool. Now, I wasn't alive for before the huge renovation when they big renovation on the exterior of it. I wasn't alive then, but looking at it now, I just know of it now, and I actually like it. I kind of do. Not to mention the best name in the NFL as far as stadiums, Soldier Field. Like, come on, that's so iconic. My dude, that's so iconic. I like the interior of the stadium too. It's like the unique upper looking deck where it's totally separate, like an overhang from the rest of the stadium. I think it's cool, my man. No, I haven't been to the stadium. I really don't know what the atmosphere is like. I don't think the Bears have one of the best atmospheres. I mean, the team has been pretty bad for most of my life, all of my lifetime. Hasn't been good since the 80s, but Chicago loves its Bears. It's a bear down. It's a bear down city. Really is. I'd like to see Chicago get good. I would really like to see that. Maybe the atmosphere inside the stadium would improve. I'd reckon it would. I'd reckon it would. Next up, Baltimore. M&T Bank. This is a tough one to rank. I'm going to put it in the upper of B tier. And why is that? Ravens have a good, actually, I'm putting in A tier. You know, Ravens have a good environment, good atmosphere, good fans. Um, I can't let my bias get in the way because I'm not the biggest Baltimore Ravens fan. I'm not the biggest fan of their franchise, but I can recognize that they have a good stadium setup. Um, it is more basic kind of looking. Um, the interior of the stadium is more basic looking, but I think the atmosphere makes the stadium. It's a good location. It's right there near downtown. You can walk from downtown to the stadium. Um, yeah. What, Charm City? I mean, I really don't know much about the stadium, so I don't have much to add, unfortunately. Next up is Gillette. Gillette Field. It's This might be controversial, but Gillette is going in beach. Well, I don't know. It's going beater. That lighthouse is cool. They're doing renovations to it. Other than that, there's not much to say about Gillette. They have the whole shopping center complex. It's in Foxborough, which is a drive from Boston. It's a drive from Providence. If you try to please everyone, you're pleasing no one. It's kind of that same mindset to me. Like, it's in the middle of nowhere. It really is the middle of nowhere. And there's hardly any public transit to it, which would be a big plus for Bostonians, because Bostonians use public transit. But Foxborough really doesn't do that really good. Uh, you had when Tom Brady was winning Super Bowls, you had the atmosphere there was really good. But now that he's gone and the team kind of stinks, the atmosphere isn't great. The environment's not great. It's cold. It's cloudy. It's foggy. The big hoodie Bill Belichick. I realize he's not there anymore, but the Patriot way, do your job. It's just kind of dystopian. I mean, I don't know. I kind of sound weird, don't I? But I don't know, man. It just doesn't do it for me. It's not a stadium I'm dying to go to, honestly. I would love to go to it, but I'm not dying to go to it. That's just me. Now, next up is State Farm Stadium, I believe it's called. That's not State Farm Stadium. This is State Farm Stadium, home of the Arizona Cardinals. It's not that great of a stadium. Aesthetically, the exterior is kind of ugly. I mean, it looks like a huge spaceship, kind of like an alien spaceship. It's not aesthetically my favorite stadium, but exterior and internally, you have the field that goes in and out of the stadium. Both that stadium does it, and Allegiant Stadium in Vegas does it. Allegiant Stadium does it way better because here in Arizona, by the way, it's in Glendale, Arizona. What? Bro, put your stadium in downtown Phoenix. Come on. It's not a great location. Anyways, the field comes in and out because the natural light, they want the natural grass to get sunlight. So they roll the field outside the stadium, and then the roller field in the stadium for game day. But because of that, the one end zone that they have to roll the field out of, it has temporary seating, and I don't know. It aesthetically doesn't make the stadium that good looking. The roof doesn't really make it good looking. The Cardinals aren't known as one of the better fan bases. It just, man, come on. Something about that stadium just doesn't do it for me, bro. Next up, the Houston Texans and NRG Stadium. Now that stadium right there, I've been to the stadium. So I guess one of four NFL stadiums I've been to. It wasn't for a Texans game. It was for a college bowl game. So I wasn't able to see the whole Texans atmosphere as you would in the stadium. But from what I understand, the atmosphere isn't one of the best in the NFL. It wasn't worst. Isn't one of the worst in the NFL either. Obviously, they're better now, so the atmosphere is gonna be better as well. Uh, I mean, exteriorly, it's fine. I mean, not the best looking by any means. It's kind of a little bit ugly. Interior wise, I think it's kind of ugly though. Especially looking by the roof, I can't stand the roof. I mean, especially during day games, you look up to the roof and it's weird. It's like this transparent sunlight gets in. It's strange. And even when the roof is open, which is hardly ever open, by the way. And what the heck? Why can't you open your roof in RG Stadium? Yes, I hold a grudge. I'm holding a grudge. Open your roof more, bro. Open your roof more. That's all I've got to say. I know I don't even have to say anything else. Open your roof more. I'll improve your rating. Boom, roasted. You know what? Same thing goes for Cowboys Stadium. Open your roof, Cowboys Stadium, and I'll improve your rating. I don't care if you're worth I don't care if you're worth $2 billion or something insane like that. Open your roof, bro. Bunch of an oversized stadium, oversized good for nothing stadium, bro. Come on now. Cowboys fans annoying. Overrated, by the way. This stadium right here. Actually, I'm putting an A tier, but I still think it's a little overrated. I mean, it's so grandiose that even when you go to the stadium, it's like, yeah, you're watching a football game, but the action seems far away, and it just seems like you're not actually like part of a passionate fan base. Because Cowboys fans are, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't want to roast Cowboys fans, but anyways, Colts Stadium is underrated in my opinion. Lucas Oil Stadium, great stadium, great barn. The exterior stadium is A tier, S tier. Exterior stadium is S tier. Interior stadium's B tier. Averages out at A tier. Fair enough, right? It's a great stadium. It's great. Nothing unique about it, however. You have the two windows on either side of the end zone, which open up for sunlight, and they open up when the weather's nice, I guess, which is cool. I think the roof opens too occasionally. Ooh, open your roof more, bro. Every stadium, I want them to open their roof more, bro. Come on. Anyways, Pat McAfee, shout out, love him. Colts, great stadium. And last but not least, MetLife. Kind of a shitty stadium. Even though it's so new, it's just shitty. It's not that great of a stadium. Both Jets and Giants don't have amazing atmospheres. Jets have better atmosphere than the Giants do, but it's not a great stadium. It's very basic looking. It doesn't have unique features, which I guess it has to change from Jets to Giants, so it can't be unique to either of them because it has to house both of them. Like I said a little bit before, trying to please everyone results in pleasing no one. It pleases no one. Not to mention, like the location of it, it's in East Rutherford, New Jersey, which you gotta drive from New York to get to East Rutherford, and then it's all parking lots around it, and then there's a dead mall right by it. it's not the best location. Now, yeah, so anyways, that's my tier ranking. I might adjust the tiers internally, because I believe like the SoFi Stadium right here is number one, I think. So it's gonna go above like US Bank Stadium right here. But they're all S tier. But it's kind of an internal little ranking system I have going on, which is just something I believe. So let's see here. I mean, overall, I think it's a pretty good list if I say so myself. I put Energy Stadium maybe a little higher. Mm, maybe I'll move that one down. Move it down. Yeah, I'll move the Brown Stadium below the Bill Stadium, and yeah, I think this concludes my tier list. Like, this is a pretty good tier list, and I'll go through a rundown so everyone kind of has a feeling for it. So, in S tier, we have SoFi Stadium, home of the Los Angeles Rams and the Los Angeles Chargers, co-tenants in Inglewood, California. And then we have Lambeau Field, home of the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Also, we have US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota, home to the Minnesota Vikings. We have Mercedes-Benz Stadium, home to the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta, Georgia. And we have Allegiant Stadium, home to Las Vegas Raiders in Paradise, Nevada. It's not in Las Vegas, Nevada. You kind of have to. It's a weird little thing going there. And let's see. In the A tier, we have a total of 7 stadiums there. We have the Seattle Seahawks Stadium, the Detroit Lions Stadium, the New Orleans Saints Stadium, the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, the Indianapolis Colts Stadium, the Baltimore Ravens Stadium, and the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium. In B tier, we have a total of 9 stadiums there. The San Francisco 49ers, the Miami Dolphins, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Denver Broncos, the Houston Texans, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Chicago Bears, and the New England Patriots. In C tier, the below average stadiums, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the New York Jets / New York Giants, the Tennessee Titans, the Arizona Cardinals, the Buffalo Bills, the Cleveland Browns, the Carolina Panthers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. In a D tier, the absolute worst NFL stadium in the NFL by in a pretty consensus way. I mean, talk to anyone, they'll probably tell you this one's the worst stadium in the NFL. It's FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, home to the Washington Commanders. Alright, everyone, thank you for checking out my video. Hope to make new videos soon. Kind of a project I want to work on, kind of, sort of. You know what I mean, broski? Alright, Landon signing out.